It's in the early morning hours of March 2nd, 1996, where this story begins. A story that remains a mystery even now, 25 years later.
It was quiet, no calls on the radio because it was 3-something in the morning, and at that time things are just winding down.
But this was no typical morning.
On the radio comes a call where there's shots fired.
Yes, this is the Giant Food on York Road.
A worker at a nearby grocery store heard the gunshots and called 911.
There's a black male in a white BMW and he just drove away.
I had shots fired, 610 York Road. Complaining call from the Giant Food store advised she had several shots fired. There's a female subject in the car. We laying over on the wheel or what?
She's slumped down. We can't see her.
She's slumped down. They can't see.
Ultimately, some of the information that came back to us was there was a black male that went into her car, took something out, and drove off in a white BMW. So that description went out on the radio.
At the time of this shooting, Baltimore County Police Colonel Andre Davis was a corporal working patrol.
He has been shot.
Okay, subject has been shot.
He has been shot.
Hold on for 1 minute.
He was one of the first officers on the scene that morning of March 2nd.
She was in full cardiac arrest when we got there.
23-year-old Joann LeCornu, known to her family and friends as Jody, had been shot fatally.
The night that she was killed, she had been out previously with some friends. A little while later, she drives in her vehicle to what would now be known as the Annesley Shopping Center on York Road, right near the Baltimore City line.
Jody was shot as she sat in the parking lot.
For some reason, she was parked there, and she was actually shot there by an individual.
She did try to escape across the street,
Where the Giant is located.
but the shooter followed her.
Her vehicle came to a stop there, and the individual responsible for this actually followed her across the street. They parked behind her and waited for her car to come to a stop, and then the suspect got out of his vehicle, entered her vehicle, seemingly took something from her car, and then left the location in his vehicle.
Corporal Donna Carter supervises the Baltimore County Police Department's cold case unit.
There's at least one person out there who knows what happened that night.
The LeCornu case is still being investigated. The case file is likely the county's largest. This box alone is filled with old MVA records detectives printed out, believing they might lead them to the owner of that white BMW, the one witnesses describe seeing leaving the scene. It's hoped advancements in technology might now hold the key.
So those advancements continue to be a possibility to solve these cold cases and to give new hope and new light to these cases.
Cases that have not been forgotten, despite the amount of time that's passed.
It's a case I never forgot.
Davis now oversees the Baltimore County Police Department's Criminal Investigations Bureau.
One of the things that I would love before I leave here is to make sure that we bring this case to a close.
Really, it only takes one person saying what they saw that night to come forward, and it can be the smallest detail that we just didn't know that could push us in the right direction and bring closure to these victims' families.
Someone knows what happened that night, and police hope they come forward.